Consistency is keeping you stuck. 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 And I'm saying this as a person who is who is someone who has tried to be consistent. But let me tell you something, y'all. First of all, consistency is a dirty C word, okay? It is a dirty C word. And why is it a dirty C word? Because it is bandied about as if it is the end all be all of everything. It's used as a bad word to explain why you are not successful or why you are not like the person who's using the word. It's used as a way to try to separate people between essentially the haves and the have-nots. Consistency is a dirty word. Now, I got my notes before me because I want to make sure that when I share what I share with you, I'm sharing it completely because, y'all, I am neurodiverse. I am ADHD. I suspect it's actually ADHD. I'm currently on my medicine, so I should do pretty well, but I'm also very overstimulated right now because I'm outside and there are music sources from 3 different places, cars passing by, people talking. However, I'm testing the live stream and I am closer to the Wi-Fi than I am in my own room. So I'm trying, so bear with me. All right, so we're gonna talk about this. And the first thing, like, seriously, we need to stop talking about consistency because, again, people are using this word incorrectly, okay? And because they're using this word incorrectly, this is why a lot of us are struggling with what consistency actually means. This is why a lot of us are struggling to actually meet consistency. Because again, they're using that word wrong and they're using it to basically belittle or put down people. Those who are using it to inspire or try to motivate you to doing something that you want to do are still using it wrong. Because here's the bottom line, and I think I talked about this in a different video, but it may not yet be posted. But I had learned from a creator, a coach, who stated that one of the reasons why we tend to fail at keeping ourselves accountable, at realizing the things that we want, our dreams, our purpose, those types of things, is usually because we let ourselves down to the point where we no longer trust ourselves, okay? And so trusting in yourself is a huge key, a huge motivator to being successful. Because the problem is, if you did not keep your word to yourself, you have taught you that you can't trust you. You have taught you that no matter what comes out of your mouth, no matter what it is that you do, you have taught you that you can't trust you. And that, y'all, is not a good feeling, okay? So not only that, but like I said, they're using the word consistency absolutely wrong. And y'all tell me, have you had trouble staying consistent? Because I'm about to tell you what the actual definition of consistency is so that we can really talk about what your solution is. So we can really talk about how you get to change your mind, switch it in such a way that you can be successful at your goals, that I can be successful at my goals, because we have got to let go of the misinformation that other people have given us, okay? So, as y'all know, I have a challenge coming up. This is not a promotion. I'm telling you what this is because it's a challenge for myself. I'm sharing this challenge with other people because building community is one of the ways I know that I would be successful, is if I have other people I'm doing things with. And y'all let me know if it's just way too noisy here. If so, I will try to find a space inside the house in order to make this work. But what I was saying here is, I'm so overstimulated. What I was saying here, oh God, if you can remind me what I was just saying. But anyway, so that's one of the reasons why we fail, is because we're trying to do something that, one, is not even possible because consistent, there we go. You say you're consistent, so your content gets no views, and that's because, okay, this is where I was. So that's because consistency is not what we're actually supposed to be striving for. And again, if we're trying to strive for the wrong things, the wrong way that people have defined it, we're not going to get there. Because one, it's defined incorrectly, and two, some of us are actually built in such a way that consistency is not going to be attainable for us. As I said a little bit earlier, I have ADHD. And so, as part of ADHD, one of the things that I struggle with is called RSD, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria, which was made worse through trauma. And what that is that rejection or perceived rejection is actually quite painful. And so when I put out things, and you may feel the same way, I don't know, but when I put out things, when there are no metrics that work, like people aren't watching, people aren't commenting, people aren't sharing, people aren't engaging, that is a perceived rejection. Now, mind you, logically we know better. Logically we know that the algorithm has part to do with this. And yes, there are other things to do, such as the thumbnail, such as the title, like those things could work. But it kind of feels even worse when people are being successful at not doing those things. And so one of the things we have to understand, one, is that it's also timing. And I don't mean timing of when you post, I mean timing as in God's timing. Because for some people, now is their time. For some people, suddenly is the way it goes. For some people, they've been putting in that work and it's underground, so you never got to see it. And then all of a sudden it looks like they're growing overnight. But there's no such thing as an overnight success unless you were born at 1, at 0, and by the next day you were famous. That's kind of overnight success, right? And you have nothing to do with that, because again, it's going to be timing, it's going to be purpose, it's going to be all those things. But let's talk about this, because what I need you to understand is that you're not failing. So let's get that out of the way right now. You're not failing because you're not consistent. Again, the word's being used wrong. You're not failing because you're not consistent. And I'm going to tell you why you're failing, okay? The word that we need to focus on is going to be one that is, that you already know, one, and that has even more weight, but also more space than consistency. Okay, so what I was saying is that some of us just don't have that room, especially if we're female, right? And people are like, what does gender have to do with it? Well, unlike men, females are ruled by our hormones, not emotions, hormones. We are ruled by those hormones because, oh my God, I'm so sorry for all this noise. Y'all let me know if it's too noisy. Our hormones literally have jobs, and the jobs are not just to be fertile or just to do those kinds of things, but like literally estrogen's job is to help us with our dopamine and our focus. Estrogen's job is to make sure that we could be functioning. And when estrogen goes missing or takes a vacation or decides that it just wants to dip, it does affect us. The same thing with progesterone, it has its own thing that it's dealing with. So you'll find, especially those of you who are neurodiverse, you will find that there's like a week or two that your energy is not there, or your focus isn't there, or your executive functioning just really isn't there. You'll do things because you have to do things, yes, but when you are by yourself, when you're a solopreneur, when you're trying to make your own dreams happen, when you want to be a content creator and you're trying to find the time on your own space and time, and there are no dire consequences to it, dire meaning like it's literally due right now, you got to get it hurry up and done, then you're going to be able to put you off because you really don't have the spoons to do it. You really don't have the energy, the space, the bandwidth to do it. And as somebody who just came out of 3 years of burnout, if you don't have it, don't spend it, okay? This is your mental health bank account. If you don't have it, don't spend it. This is your physical health bank account. If you don't have it, don't spend it, because you will enter burnout. Cars don't run on fumes, okay? So what I want you to understand here is this is the definition of consistency. I actually pulled out a few definitions, so I'm going to read a couple of them to you. So one of the first definitions of consistency is conformity in the application of something. Conformity in the application of something, typically that which is necessary for the sake of logic, accuracy, or fairness. Y'all, conformity. That's like literally putting on a uniform every day to go to school. That is conforming to the rules and the structures and the requirements and the social mores of, say, a platform. To conform is to not be different. To conform is to not stand out. And so the way that consistency's literal definition is to be the same. And that's still not the way that they're using it. It is to conform to how something is for the sake of logic, accuracy, or fairness. Okay, cool. So the next definition of this is the quality or fact of staying the same at different times. Again, that's consistency. I don't know about y'all, but I happen to know that I'm a human being. And I don't know about y'all. Y'all let me know if y'all know this. But human beings cannot stay the same, because there's a saying of, if you're not growing, you're dying. So if your plant, your rose bush, your tree, if it is not growing, it is literally dying. And so as a human being, that rule applies to you too, because change is inevitable. You are going to change because you are going to grow. You're not still an infant. You're not still a toddler. You're not still a child. You're not still a teenager. You're not still like, whatever it is, you are going to grow. And many of us have so much growing to do. If you look back to pre-pandemic days, so let's just say, look back 5 years right now. Are you the same person? Are you the same person that you were 5 years ago? I can promise you I wasn't. I can promise you I'm not. Not wasn't, I'm not. 5 years ago, I was still teaching. I was in Georgia. I was still writing. I only had one book. I only had 2 books written and 1 screenplay written. And I was living in a house, I think it was. Not the apartment. I don't think it was the apartment. So I'm not the same. Do not come on my lives. I don't need to get in trouble. I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago. Are you? Are you literally the same person that you were 5 years ago? And so for us to be striving to try to be a person who does not change is literally for you to be antithetical to who you are as a human being. Now, I'm going to give you another definition of consistency, right? This one here was like, oh, because y'all, whenever somebody said this word, right? Whenever somebody said, oh, you're not successful because you're not consistent. Whenever somebody said, all it takes is consistency, my belly, my spirit would jump and be like, that don't feel right. Like, no, I don't think that's it. No, right? Okay, so when you look up consistency, it says, there's a question, what is the best definition of consistency? And so the Cambridge Dictionary, the literal maker of English words, is consistency is, and in big bold letters it says, being the same. I just explained that to you, right? But the definition says the quality of always behaving or performing in a similar way, or of always happening in a similar way. So consistency means to never change. Consistency means literally to never grow, to never pivot, to never get aligned, because you could be consistent. It means to never get aligned because you can consistently be the same person. And can you imagine that if you were the same person you were 5 or 10 years ago, how miserable you might be? I mean, exact same. I miss some of my innocence. I miss certain pre-days. But can you imagine, had you not been the same person? I learned how to do so much in the last 2 years that I can't imagine to not go back to that part, right? So if that's what consistency is, right? And if you're striving to always be the same, if you're striving to always be at 100% despite what your actual body, mental health, spiritual health is saying. You are aiming for burnout. You are walking into a place of no return. Like, it's going to take you so much longer to recover from burnout, because burnout is 2 to 3 years, y'all. And it took me 3 exactly, because I tried to come back out early. But it's better to take a day off than to have to take 3 years. Is it not? Any of y'all experience burnout, or were y'all lucky to get out of burnout? Because, like, what? Have you experienced burnout? I want to make sure this mic doesn't die, because I've recorded videos and the mic died. Right. Am I the only one? I think I'm the only one. Okay. So, let me make sure I have my words here. Okay, so the other definition, so that was behaving the same, right? And so what I want you to understand is, like, some of us are dealing with life way differently. We're listening to people who don't live the same life we do. Like, when people say Beyonce has 24 hours in the day, the same 24 hours we all have. Yeah, but she gets to capitalize on her ways that are different than the rest of us. She has a team, she has a partner, she has nannies, she has, you know what I mean? Like, she has ways to buy other people's time. If you're doing this by yourself, but you are also giving some of that time away to other people, your children, your spouse, your job, your friends, your other family members, you don't have the same 24 hours because you gave them away, right? So I don't know if that makes sense, y'all. Y'all let me know if that makes sense to you, because we may have the same balance sheet, the same statement at the beginning of the month, so to speak, of 24 hours. But our day, our hours, our time gets spent differently. And it's not because, she's putting more time into her content creation, or she's spending more time into her music videos or whatever. And I don't want to just use Beyonce, because she's so far away from who we are, right? But if you look at other content creators, and some of us, we're looking at them, and while we're celebrating them and we're rah-rah-rahing for them, they still don't have the same life we have. Not even similar to what we have. They may have struggles, but their time is not the same as the time that we have, right? Again, balance sheet is the same, but our deposits, our withdrawals are different, okay? So that's one thing. And then 2, they change day to day, because if you're a mom, your kid is not 100% all the time. If you are a spouse, your spouse is not even 100% all the time. You might decide you don't want to eat at home that day. You might have to go somewhere, and so you're traveling. So the time is spent differently. It's your choice in a lot of cases, but in some cases, it's not a choice. Okay, well, let me change that. Everything is always a choice, but the better choice is the one in which you get to be present for somebody else, right? So that might be what's happening in that case. So I want you to understand that, first of all, is that consistency is hard to strive for when you are a human being. And consistency is the wrong word to use. And I want to get to what the actual word is in just a second. I want to really clear this out for you. All right, so one thing that I really want you to understand is that consistency is not attainable, nor is it sustainable. And you already mentioned that, and that's the truth. So let's dive into this, right? So like I said, many of them are using the word wrong in the first place. And if you are a neurodiverse person, this just isn't possible. What you need to be aiming for is going to be alignment and authenticity. And I know that authenticity gets used wrong as well in this space, but authenticity is what is real and is naturally you. That is your authentic self. It's what is real and naturally you. What do you naturally gravitate to? How do you naturally show up? And so, like, if you are a person, for instance, one of the things that I have been trying to do for the last year and failing at it is meditating while sitting down, right? I would get in this little rocker. I would sit up under the mango tree. I would put on the sound or the song so that I could hear music and space out or whatever I needed to do, and I just could not do it. And why is that? Because I'm not a person who receives through just sitting. I need to be doing something. I need to be in action. I need to be in motion. So this is either through writing and prayer or taking a walk in prayer. So that's why on this channel you'll see like walk and talks with God, because that is where I'm meditating, I'm praying, and I'm hearing from God. Or you will see like on the video that I'm getting ready to post tonight, my other video. Did I post it tonight? No, I posted it yesterday. Which was the word that I received, which is you have to release good to be great. And I'll link that below so that you could check that out. So so again, let's look at the definition, right? Conformity in the application of something, typically that which is necessary for the sake of logic, accuracy, and fairness. I hope you see what's wrong with that, right? So conformity is about you fitting in someone else's box. It is about you not even being your authentic self, not being able to discover your authentic voice, not you being able to go after what you naturally gravitate to, how you feel called or where you feel pulled, because you have to conform to what someone else has said. If y'all notice, there are some creators right now who are booming, who are really taking off. One just started 2 weeks ago, and that's going to be Dash of Faith. He spoke about how he started 14 days ago. But then you also have Dodash, and Dodash didn't start 14 days ago. Dodash started 4 years ago, and they are both growing in astronomical, what's the word? I can't think of it right now. Exponentially. They're both growing exponentially. And why is that? Because it's their time. One spent 2 weeks, 14 days, a fortnight, and the other spent 4 years in growth and in getting comfortable and in showing up almost daily, if not daily, for all 4 years, okay? So those two things are incomparable in the respect of time, but not in the respect of message. This is where they get to break away from consistency. They're not conforming. The thumbnail, not doing it. The title, not doing it. SEO, not doing it. Messaging, not doing it. One topic, not doing it. They are not conforming to the rules that have been laid forth by people who found success on YouTube and thought that was the only way it could happen. No. Because they are not being consistently conforming to the rules and structure of YouTube, they, being anomalies, are now finding success. Why? Because they are speaking in their authenticity. They are showing up authentically. That's hitting the live stream. That's recording a video with no editing. That is how they're doing it. Why? Because it's true to them. Is it true to you? If not, don't copy them. Right? And then the other thing that is true to them is their relationship with God. So they are speaking on their relationship with God. One of their followers, one of their subscribers called them called it the Hope Crew. And so now the Hope Crew is growing, and its job is to spread hope, not just get monetized, right? So think about that. If they're not fitting in that box that someone else has set forth, that allows them to break out of it and become seen. If everyone is wearing blue and you wear orange, you are going to be seen. If everyone is wearing polka dots and you are wearing stripes, you could be of the same color, but you are going to be seen. I hope y'all understand what I'm getting at here. Because the truth is, if you are a person who is neurodiverse, who has ADHD, autism, trauma, a combination, of all or some of these things. If you are a person who has experienced life, you might have started from the bottom, now you're here. Or you might have started from the top and fell to the bottom, and now you're here trying to get back to where you actually are to be. Whatever that is, your set of experiences your set of experiences, that is what is going to set you apart, and that is going to dictate that you don't color in lines that God never put down for you in the first place. Amen. I'm serious. Amen. Okay. And let me tell you this. As a neurodiverse person, oftentimes when you're trying to fit yourself into that box, when you're trying to conform to the consistent ideas that people have set before you, again, using that word wrong, what you are doing is you are not being true to yourself. You are breaking yourself. Okay? Like I said, I was in burnout. And some of the signs of burnout is becoming irritable. Some of the signs of burnout is crying at the drop of a hat. Some of the signs of burnout is zoning out in your car. Like after you drive and you're just sitting there for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours going, where the heck did the time go? Some of the signs of burnout is not being with your family, is just saying, I gotta work, or I gotta make money, and you're just not getting anywhere. Like you're literally on this merry-go-round that's going round and around and around and you can't get off. Some of the signs of burnout look like depression, and it's not even depression. It is burnout, baby. So the natural thing for neurodiverse people, ADHD and autism, is like not to conform to what other people are doing. Because first of all, half the time we see the stupidity in it. Like, why do I have to do that? Why do I need to do this? So it's not that we can't. It's not even just that we can't. It's that we don't want to. Okay? And it's really important that we understand that that is not how we were made to be. And that's okay. That is beyond okay. Now, when we look at, again, that other definition of consistency, the way in which a substance, okay, this one I didn't read to you, but this was really important. The way in which a substance, typically a liquid, holds together, thickness or viscosity. Look, let's be real. Holding it together ain't our thing. It's just not our thing. I can try to make it my thing, but it's not my thing. That helps us become OCD, right? Things have to be so perfect, and when it's not perfect, we have meltdowns because it's not our thing. And we need to know that that's okay, right? Because we have good days and we have bad days and we have okay days and we have great days and we have I ain't getting out of bed days. We have it all. So there is no consistency in who we are as a human being. Why do we keep striving for it? Listen. Oh, just like the tide, y'all, like just like the tide, we ebb and flow. We ebb and flow. We ebb and flow. Like it's life. It's life. Okay? And now I want to get to the other one. But let me tell you something. Well, let me ask you. Did you try, like, do you try to hold it together? Because every time I did, the break was harder. You know, like they say, the bigger the giant, the harder the fall. That's literally how it is. So if you did, let me put it in the comments somewhere. Let me see that, one, I'm not alone, but two, let you see that you're not alone either. Put same. I want to know. I want to know. Have you tried? Have you tried? Y'all, so like there's just so much that we could talk about here, but I want to tell you what the word is. I want to tell you what the word is, but I'm gonna have to read the definition for you. Let me read this third definition though, because this is the reality, right? Consistency, this was the third definition. Consistency is the quality of always behaving okay. The third definition of consistency is the quality of always behaving or performing in a similar way, or of always happening in a similar way. And like I said, that's not something we can do. We can't perform the same. We just cannot be the same day in, day out. And I don't mean that in ability, so to speak, like, oh, we're neurodiverse, we can't do it. I mean in humanity. We're human. We were made to be different. Otherwise, why do we even have thoughts? Otherwise, why do we even have life? If we're gonna always be the same, we might, like, even ants aren't the same, right? like even ants aren't the same because they all have different jobs, but even in those jobs, like they're not finding the same crumbs, they're not finding the same food, they're not finding the same enemies. Like it feels like no. All right. And so again, like I said, especially as females, we're dealing with hormones. Our estrogen goes up and down, but our estrogen also deals with dopamine. Our estrogen handles the thing for us. And so when it's gone, we have a hard time feeling the motivation, because ADHD is not about focus or attention. We have the ability to focus and to be attentive. It is about executive functioning. And that in itself is a misnomer, just a misunderstanding by the medical community. I need to hurry. I think I just felt a drop and I cannot get my computer wet. One, because it's not mine. All right, and then, so let's talk about it. What is there for you? The word you need is commitment. The word you need is commitment. Commitment is about showing up. Commitment, let me give you the definition here, and then we're gonna go. Commitment is the word, because commitment means the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. And so your success is predicated on your commitment to your success, your commitment to your dreams, your commitment to keeping your word, your commitment to building trust with yourself, your commitment to showing up, your commitment to being married to the mission that God has given you. And that is how you are going to reach your success. It is through being committed. And commitment is what's going to get you out of bed. Commitment is what's going to help you show up. Commitment is also paying attention to your signs and signals from your body and saying, this is one of those days that's going to be a self-care day. Commitment is understanding that you're never going to be 100%, but you'll sure try. And if you don't have a try, if there's nothing there for you, you are going to be committed to your health, mental wellness, and your physical wellness, your physical health, because your bank accounts cannot be depleted, because if they are, you will be. And that is truly what you need. It is not to be consistent. It is to be committed. Your success is determined by your commitment. It is not consistency. How committed are you to doing something different for your life? How committed are you to getting better and to achieving more? How committed are you to allowing yourself to use your voice and to show up? Because that's what I need from you. That's what God's demanding of you. And if you showed up on this live, one, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for putting up with all this noise that I've got going on. Thank you for being here, for me as well as for you. But I want you to understand, it's not consistency that's going to get you to where you want to go. It's your commitment to getting there in the first place. I love you. Be blessed. Y'all have a beautiful day. All right. Peace out.